I don't know who needs to hear this, but I know somebody needs to hear this. Let me say something to you. Listen real close. Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. But is you acting like it? Because see, I know we all gonna have challenges in life. We all gonna have obstacles that come. I've lost count of how many times Bank of America done told me, Lawrence, you late on this. Lawrence, you ain't paid this. Lawrence, you ain't done this. But I just ignore it because I know I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. This bill, it ain't nothing. It ain't nothing. But I'm gonna find a way out. No matter how bad the situation gets, no, you can find a way out. And this isn't even in a religious sense. This is just you can find a way out of your problems. Yeah, I know that late payment. I know that car payment due. I know that rent payment due. I know times is tough, but you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. You can get out of this. And what I want to talk to you about today is how it's really easy for us to say a thing. It's really easy for us to think a thing. It's really easy for us to imagine a thing. But when it's time to put action behind your faith, that's where a lot of people fall off. You got a whole lot of faith, no action. Then there's other people who got a whole lot of action, no faith. So no matter what you do, if you don't believe in the thing you do, it ain't gonna work. Great example. Let's say you 300 pounds. You want to get down to 200. You got to lose 100 pounds, right? You know what to do. You know step by step exactly what you need to do. You can hop on YouTube. You can hop on TikTok. You can hop on Instagram. You could go to Google. You could get a fitness trainer. You can do all these things. You know what to do to lose this 100 pounds. But no matter how much action you put in, you're in that gym 7 days a week. You in that gym 8 days a week, 25 hours a day, but you ain't got no faith. You still thinking from 300 pounds. You still thinking from this perspective. You still thinking from this obstacle. You still thinking from the problems you're in right now. You're never going to get out of it because your thoughts, your faith is grounded in this present moment, not in the dream, not in where you're going to go. Now, think of it this way, too, right? You're doing all the action, you're putting the work in, but your faith is, I'm never going to lose that 100 pounds. I'm always going to be 300 pounds. I'm going to stay here. I'm stuck. Nothing's going to work for me. Your faith is stuck. Your faith is limited. Your faith is smaller than a mustard seed. So, it's no surprise that no matter how much action you put in, because your faith is grounded in staying 300 pounds, the moment you get out that gym, you at Popeyes. The moment you get out that gym, you at McDonald's. The moment you take any action, you're going to go back to what your faith is in, right? Because your faith is going to dictate the outcome of your work. You would think logically that no matter how much faith you got, if your action is not aligned with the faith, that's the problem. No, it's actually the other way. Because your faith creates the action which you will take. And then on top of that, your faith grounds the result. That may be going over some of your heads right now. I'm telling you, I'm passionate today. I'm real passionate because I've been realizing in my own life that in order for me to achieve certain goals I have, like one of them is I'm trying to get my own apartment by end of the year. Okay? I'm trying to move up, I'm trying to get my own place. But in order for me to pull that off, I have to take some big action. I gotta take some, big growth in the amount of money I make. I have to start selling more products. I have to get my bank account up. Okay, I gotta get my pockets hefty. But a problem is that we often think about what we need to do to get what we want, but we don't think from that place. Because, like I mentioned earlier, with the guy who's 300 pounds, he wants to get to 200, he cannot think, I'm 300 pounds right now. He has to think from the place of being 200 pounds. Your thoughts, actions, belief, and faith have to be aligned with that which you desire. So, if I want to get my own apartment, here's what I need to do, right? I need to look at apartment buildings. I need to get tours. I need to think about, okay, where am I going to put my stuff? And not even just that, I have to mentally place myself in the apartment. I have to imagine myself walking through the lobby, going into my room, getting the couch, putting stuff in different places. I have to live from the desired place. Because whatever you put up here is going to start to manifest itself out here. And a lot of times, we start saying stuff like, I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me. But when it's time to take action, when it's time to put work behind your faith, a lot of people fall off there because they start thinking from this limited 3D perspective on what the bank account says, what the scale says, what the economy says, what the business market says. They start thinking from this rather than thinking from this. Because if you could do all things through Christ who strengthens you, it should be no reason why you can't get that job, why you can't get that degree, why you can't get that bank account increase, why you can't achieve that goal, why you can't lose that weight, why you can't put on that muscle. Because if you could do all things through Christ who strengthens you, there should be no reason why you cannot achieve that desired goal. And another verse I want to bring up to y'all is how when Jesus walked across water, he said, you guys can do crazier stuff than this. Okay, I'm walking on water, but you guys can do miracles beyond what I've done, what I've showed you. You guys can cure yourselves. You guys can achieve things. You can make something happen. So if the guy walking on water, it's a metaphor, by the way. If the guy walking on water is able to tell you that you could do crazier stuff than he did, there's no reason you can't achieve that goal you got in mind. That apartment you want, that job you want, that degree you want, that business you want, that bank account amount you want, that car you want, that woman you want, that man you want, that family you want, you can do crazier stuff than he did. Because you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. And I don't even mean this in a religious context. I mean this from a higher spirit, Buddha, Allah, whoever you believe in. You can do crazier stuff than that. And just think about how far you've come, right? Your ancestors, your family, the people around you have overcame so much. And now all that you got to do is create the faith. What is the vision? What are you trying to achieve in your life? What do you want to make happen? And then put work behind the faith. Because you can have a whole lot of faith, but no work. It ain't going to happen. You have a whole lot of work, but no faith. It ain't going to happen. You need faith and work. Because you can sit around thinking about it all day. You're like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I could achieve this. I can make this happen. But when it's time to get on that treadmill, ah, when it's time to put that application in for that job, when it's time to apply to that college, when it's time to start that business, when it's time to do whatever it is that you need to do, when it's time to go get that car loan, when it's time to get that mortgage, when it's time to move into that apartment, when it's time to do what you need to do, it ain't no work behind it. You got all the faith in the world, no work. But other people got all the work in the world, but no faith. You need both. In this video, and more so just me trying to motivate you, get you to realize that you have to go out there and make something happen. Like, if you knew how great you really are, if you knew all the potential you have, all the skill sets you have, the fact that the information is out there, the fact that people believe in you, the fact that you can. I know it's a lot of people who gonna say, "Oh no, you can't do that because of your skin, or where you come from, or your mom don't have a degree, or your dad don't have a degree, or your auntie, or your uncle, or nobody in your family did it before, nobody in your neighborhood did it before. You can't because of this, you can't because of that." I don't care. I don't care because when people start trying to doubt you, more often than not, that's because they doubt themselves. Why would you listen to the advice of someone who doesn't even believe in themselves? Why would you listen to the advice of somebody who has never tried to achieve anything noteworthy? And I know that sounds harsh, but it's the truth. It's the truth. Most of the people who hate on me, most of the people who doubt me, most of the people who be leaving crazy negative comments on my videos, they got no profile pic. They got no life achievements. They have done nothing with themselves. And the people who be the most supportive, the people who buy my products, the people who support me, the people who listen to my videos, the people who showing up, those are the ones who they showing up for themselves. Because winners like to see other people win. People who love themselves want other people to love themselves. People who are lights in the world, positive, supportive, uplifted, kind, encouraging. They like to see other people who like themselves because I don't want nobody to hate on themselves. I don't want nobody to think they can't because for so much of my life, I felt as if I couldn't. I didn't believe in me. I was my own biggest hater. And now I'm my own biggest fan. So I told my cousin this yesterday, actually. She said something like, it feels good when other people recognize you. And I'm like, yeah, it do. But I'm my own biggest fan. I am my own biggest fan. You can't love me more than I love me. Because I love things about myself that you don't even know. And I want you to feel that same way too. I want you to love yourself so deeply that you realize I could do everything I set my mind to. If I want to get into Harvard, I'm getting into Harvard. I don't care how many applications I got to put in. I don't care how long it take me. I'm getting in. I'm getting in. And before I'm even in Harvard, I'm thinking from the perspective of someone there. I'm thinking, how long do I study? What kind of book do I read? What is my major? I'm thinking from the perspective of the desired result. If you put your faith in what the world is saying, if you put your faith in what the scale says, what the economy says, what the news say, what your neighbors say, what the environment say, what the music say, if you put your faith in all this stuff out here, you're gonna be lost. Because the world is trying to lead you astray. If you put your faith in what that scale say, you're gonna be like, nah, man, I'm gonna always be 300 pounds. If you put your faith in what your bank account say, you're gonna be thinking, nah, man, I'm always gonna be in debt. If you put your faith in what the music say, nah, man, if I don't got this Lamborghini, girls don't want me. Or if I don't got this BBL, men don't want me. If you put your faith in what your neighbors saying, who hating on you, because they deep down they hating on themselves, you never gonna love yourself because you always putting your faith in things outside of you. Put your faith in things that try to tear you down. You putting your faith in things that are taken away from you. The reality is, if you claim you can do all things through Christ, if you claim that you can do all things through that higher mental space, claim that you are what you say you are, put action behind it. Put work behind your faith. Because if you ground your faith in what everyone and everything else says, you're going to be lost. You got to ground your faith in the vision. You got to ground your faith in the desired result. You got to ground your faith in what you know you are. Not what you say, not what you think, but what you know. I know I'm getting this apartment. I know I'm getting 50,000 a month. I know I'm gonna make this happen. I know I'm gonna motivate people. I know what I know. I know what I know. I don't care what the bank account says. I don't care what Bank of America say, Lawrence, you late on this bill. I don't care. I'm not operating from what the 3D Bank of America say. I'm not operating from what the scale say. I'm not operating from what the news say. I'm not operating from what social media say. I'm not operating from what all these people and all these things say. I'm operating from what I know, and what I know will become the truth. And that truth will then show itself. And when I had a result, everybody who doubted me, everybody who was hating, everybody who left all these comments and whatnot, they're gonna be like, dang, they just gonna shut right up because you can't argue with the results. I had my own office. You can't argue with that. I had my channel. You can't argue with that. Got the microphone. I got the webcam. I got the ring light. You can't argue with it. And I don't care. Because when you put too much of your care and attention into what everybody and everyone else say, you're gonna lose sight of the fact that you really can do all things through Christ. You really can. You can walk on water. You can turn water into wine. You can do all things through Christ. Metaphorically, if you say, I could fly, I can't sprout no wings, but I can learn how to fly a plane. I could travel the globe. I can't walk on water, but I can get me a boat. I can get a jet ski. I can get a yacht. I can learn how to swim. I could fly. I get a plane. I could do all things I set my mind to. All things. And on that note, I'm gonna say thank you for listening. And if you ever want to take the next step, get an even higher level of content, hit that link in the description for my course on building resilience, self love, and creating that higher vision. Have a blessed day.